Good evening. I open up this Citizens Forum. It is September 1st, 2020, and it is 6:45. We have 4 speakers. Whenever you come up to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. First, we have Mitch Bowman.
My name is Mitchell Bowman. I live at 1105 Creek Ground Court. I guess the last time I spoke, y'all heard about some of my reasons why we're against the energy code passed with the 2018 codes. But my concern is that we're looking at several things right now all at once. Naturally, I have been sent the new impact fees that will be staged and increase the prices of our houses at our 2 subdivisions. And then we also had the first year increases that we had to increase 5,000. And then after that, after January, we increased them another 5,000 in February. And then just recently, all my houses in Brookside, I had to raise another $7,000 because of the lumber. That $7,000 in lumber does not include the whole lumber package that we are receiving now. It went from the 300 to 700 on the futures on lumber. So your average sales price or average size of a house right now for the NAHB says it's gone up $16,000. So at some point in time, we'll have to do that also. But as y'all very well know, me and my partner, Mike McCann, and my other partner, B&F Development, we have 143 lots in Laverne. We want to see this sell the way Section 2 did of the Ridge, but our minimum price point now is going to be over $450 in the Ridge. So we have lessened our square footage in the Ridge, but we hope we don't have to do that. I think everybody's proud of the way the Ridge looks and keep building that style home. And I think when we start getting over $500,000 on our standard house, then that's going to change the sales. The same thing has happened in Brookside. We tried to hit a price point of $300,000 in Brookside, and now our price point starts at $325,000. But, you know, we've increased our prices, but they have not caught up with what we're getting now. We're going through several instances right now as part of the supply chain. We can't get garage doors. So ultimately, garage doors are going up. So, and then with the Louisiana hurricane, we know shingles are going to go up. So we're just trying to keep a price point where people can afford, and that's that's what I would like y'all consideration today when we're talking about passing this energy code, because that's going to give us a definite increase too. We take a lot of pride with what we've done in Brookside and the Ridge, and I've heard a lot of people say they want more of that. Well, we have another 120 acres. We will do that as long as the houses keep selling. If they don't sell, then we may opt to sell our land. We don't want to do that, but at some point in time, we may have to because the range, you know, you've got to stay in that 450 range right now on the big houses. That's a void. So just take that in consideration tonight when y'all make your vote, please. Thank you.
Next, we have Kevin Woodward.
My name is Kevin Woodward. I live at 2101 Sherbrooke Lane. As Mitchell said, we've been up here telling you multiple times on multiple things regarding the energy code. The only thing we're asking is to adopt the energy code as amended by the state. The task force that was put together by the fire marshal, Mr. Farley, included a large group of individuals, from the builders to the fire personnel to the energy people. We all came together as a collective group of individuals to hash this out and came up with what is best for the state of Tennessee for all those parties involved. So I would ask that as you look forward, you look at adopting the 2018 code as amended. I know I presented Mitchell with all the amendments that were accepted, that NAHB put forward, and all those amendments that we put forward to y'all were accepted by the state of Tennessee because they just didn't make sense to the state of Tennessee for the building environment that we live in and build in. So we have no problem adopting the 2018 code. We just like you to adopt the 2018 code as amended by the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
Next, we have Gary Farley.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I'm Gary Farley. I am the State Fire Marshal, Assistant Commissioner for the State Fire Marshal's Office. I come before you tonight at the request of Mitchell and Kevin that asked me to come speak. I'll be more than glad to answer any question that you may have concerning the energy code or any codes whatsoever. But basically what Kevin just said, I brought together a group of people. I had all the fire officials, fire chiefs, fire marshals. I had the builders, energy people, and there was only one group that came out of that not happy with the way we adopted things, and it was the energy people. And I stand firm when it comes to life safety, when it comes to the code adoptions. I will not budge. Home builders know that. Fire officials know that. But when it comes to the energy side, they're not life safety things. I'm all for our energy bills to be lower. I'm for saving energy, but it's not like it is a safety issue. So I'll be more glad to answer. If you have a question for me, and I know this is kind of a public hearing, not a public hearing, but a citizens thing, but I'll be more than glad to answer any questions you may have, whether it be for, against, or whatever.
Well, this forum isn't for questions and answers. When we get into the meat of it, we can go from there.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Last, we have Mariah Phillips.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mariah Phillips, and I live at 511 East Clark Boulevard in Murfreesboro. Many of you have already met me because of the time that I've spent in the community over the years, but for those of you who haven't met me, please let me introduce myself. My name is Mariah Phillips. I'm the mother of 5, an educator, and a businesswoman. I'm happy to announce that I'm also running for State House in District 37 to represent the northern part of Laverne, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro. I've enjoyed visiting Laverne since I've completed my student teaching at Laverne High School several years ago. Laverne was lucky enough to have one of the best U.S. government teachers I've ever met, my mentor, Mr. Willis. If anybody had him or had children who had him, they were lucky. Laverne reminds me of the town that I grew up in. It's a diverse, hardworking community where everyone knows each other and looks out for one another. As often as I've come to Laverne over the years for the ham breakfast at the Rescue Squad or Old Timers Day, I've always been greeted like I belong here. I'm running for State House to represent the people of Laverne because the hardworking people deserve someone who will work hard for them. While our politicians in the Capitol are tearing us further apart with their divisive rhetoric, working people and seniors, they're struggling to afford the medication they need to survive. We're in the biggest economic and health crisis the state has seen, and while our families who don't know how they'll make next month's rent are struggling, our politicians would rather pursue personal agendas and special interests. Times like these remind us of the importance of who the decision makers are in our community. At every level, there are people making choices that affect our families' lives every day. That's why it's important to have representatives that know our concerns, that experience our anxieties, that feel our struggles, and that show up for our communities. I'm running for State House to show up for you and for your family. I'm running for State House to lead with truth and integrity. I'm running for State House to fight for our families. I believe you should know your representative, and they should know you. To get to know me better, please check out my campaign at mariah4tn.com. I hope you will consider a vote for me in this upcoming election. You deserve a representative that will work hard for the hardworking people of Laverne. Again, my name is Mariah Phillips, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, I will close the citizens forum, and we will begin at 7 o'clock.
We said no.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
Principal over there at the time was Royal.
It's nice to meet you.
We said, no, we ain't going there.
Absolutely.
We're gonna lose this, so we can't.
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. It is September 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. The prayer tonight will be by Alderman No. The Pledge of Allegiance will be by Alderman Coate. Everyone would please rise for the prayer and the pledge.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you once again on a beautiful day here in our little city of Laverne that you've blessed us with. Lord, we'd ask also again, I know you've got billions and billions of prayers to please help us get over this COVID epidemic. Lord, we'd ask that you please watch over our elderly and our children. And Lord, also we would ask that you would help give this board knowledge to make the right decisions for its city and its citizens. In your Son's name we pray, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the August 4th, 2020 public hearing and the August 4th, 2020 regular meeting.
Make a motion to accept as submitted.
I have a motion to accept as submitted from Alderman Jones. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second from Alderman No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Going to presentations. First, we are going to go with the Outstanding Performance Award. And Chief Walker, you come up here, please. Join me.
You know, you still have to drive, and I've got a few.
Yes, sir, I do. I do. But this is an award to you, Chief Walker, because you have done so much, not just for the police department, not just for the city, but the community as a whole. You have worked tirelessly for the state, the city, the county, in almost every capacity. So we present you with this plaque tonight. And it says, you have served the Laverne Police Department with honor, dedication, and selflessness. Now, as the day dawns on the next chapter of your life, may God's blessing be upon you as you follow His way. And may you find joy and peace as He inspires you every day. And we've got down here a saying you may be familiar with, but what we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others remains. We thank you. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody help him carry that, please.
You wanna tell them what happened to you today?
Nope.
Next, want to invite Chief Beasley up for the pinning ceremony for the Deputy Fire Chief.
believe I've been with him all day. I think if he
I see
shares
he
something
brought
with
some
me
friends
like-
too.
Yeah, I brought them. To begin with, I'd like to thank the mayor, thank Bruce Richardson, the city administrator, for allowing us to go through this process tonight. To me, one of the greatest privileges of being a chief officer is awarding of a promotion to someone like Chief Matthews, Deputy Chief Matthews. Tonight, we'll be pinning him as a Deputy Chief of Laverne Fire and Rescue. This is a culmination of his career, his professional development, his education, training and dedication to the city of Laverne and to the city of Laverne Fire and Rescue Department. It also goes to say a lot about his family and the support that they've given him through the years. I promise you, without Mrs. Shannon Matthews, this probably wouldn't have happened. So, Ms. Matthews, if you would like, we would ask you to pin the badge for us. Without that Red Sox. No, you don't have to. You can if you would like.
All right, boys, you're gonna have to help her out.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you.
And as you can see, the firefighters came out in recognition tonight. That's also a great accolade on his part. So thank y'all.
Beautiful family.
Hey, Chief.
There he is.
Tell him to straighten out.
Moving on to our department reports. Chief Beasley, Fire Department.
Chief Walker, out of my third report, I've outdressed you twice. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, thank you very much for this opportunity. Y'all do have a report for the month in front of you. Do y'all have any questions regarding that? As you can see, our numbers are a little bit high. We're doing a little bit of assessment to determine how many of those reports are due to COVID or how many of those runs are due to COVID. And we'll have some type of report hopefully next month on that.
Any questions? Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Moving on to the Police Department, Chief Walker.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, one good turn leads to another, so Chief Beasley, I'm retired, almost, and the next time you see me at a city meeting, I'll probably have shorts and shoes, no socks, T-shirt, et cetera.
Mayor, I want to make a motion to get a dress code immediately.
Well, Vicky looks at me and says, those your legs or you riding a chicken? There's information in your packet that goes through July, our crimes, et cetera. And then there are a couple of more things that are in there that you can look at. If you'd like me to go through, I'll be glad to. If not, we'll move forward to the next one, Glenn. You'll have to cut that one out. Just a few more pages. It's the usual things that you'll see and know. Of course, crimes are down. Calls for service are down some, and there's a lot of stuff. You can kind of see there real quick from our Tibers packet. I could not get the August data because it probably won't be available till after Labor Day, to be honest with you. But you can see the declining of the things this year compared to same period last year. And then that's just a repeat of what I told you the other night when I was talking about the department, and I want to say one more time in front of you formally, thank you all for your support, every single one of you, through the years, and prior boards too, who have helped us to get to a point where we are today, a long way from where we were back in 2011, that's for sure, as far as the help and the work that's done. And it all goes to the people that you see who wear these uniforms and some that don't wear uniforms, but some sworn, some not sworn, but there's an awesome group of people over there. There are two things that I'm going to leave with you tonight that I want you to remember, and whoever follows me, I'm going to say my piece to them too. There are a couple of things that you've got to work on. One of them is a facility, simply because an air conditioning unit went down, and it took about 3 weeks to get that in. And then the other morning I came in, or last week, looked up, and in lights like this, there was about an 8-inch in diameter disc, and I realized it was water, and there were darker spots on the carpet than I had seen. And late that afternoon, I called David, God bless him. Every time I call him, it's usually in the late evening or something. But Randy came, and he was looking, trying to see what it was, and there'd obviously been some water in another tile there right near the corner of my desk. And he got up and he pushed the one beside it back and got on a ladder and looked, and he said, it didn't take me long to figure out why this thing's leaking. And there was about a 2-foot strip, probably about a 1/2 inch wide or so, that you could see daylight through. It had rained, and when it rained, under that air conditioning unit, when they'd put it in, and that roof was just done, you know, what, year and a half ago. But the building is not suitable for a modern-day law enforcement agency and the things that are needed there. So I'm gonna tell you, you need to really start looking at that. Let's get that Station 1 built and get them in it, and we can utilize some of the space over there, but they've still got to have a building to be in. And the other thing is, I've told you before, for the last year and a half or so, that when Next Gen 911 actually kicks in, the software we have is over 8 years old, older than that as far as when the code was initially written, and it will not handle our CAD will not handle, nor will the other parts and pieces, mobile CAD, et cetera, and we're gonna have to look at additional, or new software, not additional, but new software. And there is one proposal that I'm gonna make sure Bruce has got so he can look through it, and it would be a year-to-year lease and maintenance all included in together instead of one lump sum up front like pretty much we did the last time. So, but anyway, any questions?
Any questions or comments from the board?
Comment. I'm 62 years old the other day, and I've never even had a parking ticket. Never been pulled over by the police. I had a policeman today come up beside me with a siren on, trying to pull me over by sticking his tongue out.
That's because I was running 45 on Waldron. And he was just barely ahead of me, so I eased up next to him, went whoop, whoop. And he finally looked, and I did. I stuck my tongue out.
Mike, again, thank you for everything you've done. You have, top to bottom, you have completely changed both the Laverne Police Department for the better, but you've also moved this community in a better place all throughout the year, regardless of whether it's related to crime or even reaching out to our neighbors and helping. So thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate every single one of you. I do from the depth of my heart.
Accept.
Can he pull his gun out one more time before he leaves?
No, no, no.
Once is enough.
Then the next report is Codes Department, and I believe Randolph is back.
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen. Y'all doing all right this evening?
Yes.
Good, good. The monthly report for August is before you. We did 10 single-family dwelling permits at a sum value of $2.6 million. The commercial permits were at 3.8 million. We did 12 single-family dwelling plumbing permits and 11 mechanical permits for the month. Total building permits for the month of August were 6.6 million with the fees of roughly $27,280. The building inspections for the month were 401. And we don't have that field of code enforcement yet filled in with our intergov system, but we're diligently working. Monthly revenue with impact fees is total year-to-date, it's $417,414. For the month, it was $64,000 and roughly $100. Total single-family permits issued year-to-date have been 135. Same time frame last year was 117. And our total number of permits year-to-date have been 357. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Parks and Recreation Department, Mr. David McGowan.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, thank you. You have the parks numbers for the month in front of you. Total help desk tickets, 47, man hours, 161. You see the visitors number in the park. We're slowly climbing back up there. Projects, this was a long time coming. Police Department floor, even though we did not put that floor down, we had to empty every office back there and the kitchen. We're kind of happy how that turned out. I know our guys are glad that's over with. Moving furniture for 2 or 3 days, I think kind of wore them down. Upcoming events, September 11th is Movie in the Park, Sonic the Hedgehog. October the 2nd is Howl at the Moon, the 5K. We are going to try to do that at the park. It will be a traditional 5K race. We think we can pull that off. Upcoming meeting, September 17th is the Senior Center Advisory. We are going to have that meeting. September 21st, Park and Rec. September 21st, Historical Preservation. Would like to say that the Senior Center will remain closed throughout the month of September at this time. Any questions?
David, if anyone is interested in participating with Old Timers Festival, which is also coming up in October, whether it's the parade or at the actual event, how do they go about doing that?
There are vendor applications online. They can call the park office. I think it's 793-3224. I believe that's the number. I don't call that much. They can call my cell phone, 615-642-2235. That's why you guys give that to me, to answer the calls. Our dates are the 17th, October 17th. We're going to try to kick it off on Friday night, the 16th, with some music on the football field. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, David. Moving on to the library, Ms. Donna Bebout.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen, good evening. Our curbside pickup for August continued to be really popular with our patrons, and we had 864 checkouts. The one thing we want to really talk about and are very excited about is the library reopening, and that will be Tuesday, September the 8th. Now, the reopening of the library is a very exciting thing. We've had patrons who are really looking forward to getting back in, but I do want to remind people that things will look a little bit different. They may feel a little bit different, but there'll still be that excitement of coming into a library. Our hours are changing. Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we will be open to our patrons from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. We have pushed the hour back a little bit to the opening so that the staff can come in, do a really good thorough cleaning, and then in the evening we will clean also before we leave. We're asking for mask or facial coverings must be worn by our patrons at all times while in the library, and that does include children aged 2 and up. Sanitizing stations are going to be located throughout the library, and there will be very limited seating. So we're using the concept of grab and go. We want you to kind of come in, look around, maybe know what you want, grab that stuff, come on up to the circ desk, get your things, and out you go. And of course, we'll be waving and saying hello and all of that good stuff too. Curbside pickup will also continue. Our patrons have really appreciated that, and it's worked out well, so we will continue our curbside pickup. We will have limited patron computers and laptop areas, and we will be limiting those to a 2-hour session per day so that we can accommodate more of the patrons that are wanting to use that service. We will resume our copy, our printing, and our faxing. And we are asking to please comply with the postage signage to maintain a very safe and enjoyable library experience for everyone. And our library mantra, as we reopen and as we are just about every day, blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. The Laverne Library Board will meet Monday, September 14th at 5 p.m. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Water treatment plant, Mr. Greg Purcell.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. In the month of August, we treated 136.6 million gallons of water, delivered 109.5 million gallons to the citizens of Laverne. That's an average of 4.7 million gallons per day treated and 3.8 million gallons per day delivered. We are done with our lead and copper sampling. Thank you to the citizens that participated in that. We will be sending out the results to those once we get all the data back. So far, out of 21 samples analyzed, there's been no detection of lead. It's a good sign. Our TOC removal for the month of August was 57%. Of course, the requirement's 15. That's 3.8 times better than the requirement. Two things, big things that happened for maintenance are potassium permanganate, one of our chemicals. We got the auto mixer fixed so that it automatically mixes up. We don't have to do it manually. And rebuilt one of the Ross valves on the high service pumps. Gonna plan on doing some more of those. Our flushing is complete. It was done at the beginning of August, right on target. I want to thank the city staff for getting the word out to the public, and also to Michael Dietz's crew for helping when we ran into issues. The first phases of the filter rehab project will be starting soon. And we have 7 on, a little staffing update, we have 7 employees on site with the 8th starting very soon.
and we are actively seeking a utility tech position. We did have 6 customer complaints. One was one was due to someone's hot water heater or water heater, and the others were low pressure, all due to pressure reducing valves, the meter being off, or one of them was a water heater as well, and one of them was a issue with their spigot or faucet. Any questions?
Greg, my question is, your utility technician position, is that the only position you've got open right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then if any of our residents have any concerns or questions about their water, what number can they call to reach you guys?
615-793-6536. And option 2 will get you right to the water plant.
Any other questions? Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Public Works Department, Mr. Garland Russell.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. You have before you my report for the month. We've had a busy month. We've been down one mechanic. Thomas has worked himself to death. Not only that, his stepfather passed away and he was off a few days. So any questions that I could answer for you?
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Human Resources, Ms. Cheryl Lewis-Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen. Here is the report for Human Resources. I'm proud to say that we've been very proactive in assisting employees with COVID informational resources and participating in virtual HR-related programming on state, regional, and national levels. We launched our employee performance review training for department heads, managers, and supervisors as we begin the initial benchmark process of facilitating employee performance appraisals this month. Our new employee performance review program provides a structured approach in assessing employee performance in a streamlined approach. It's a great development and coaching tool. We've been very busy with recruitment efforts, and we're currently preparing for our benefits open enrollment season for our employees in November. Also, flu season is approaching, and we'll begin conducting and coordinating our flu shot clinics with Care Here. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business. Second reading, ordinance 2020-10, an ordinance to amend Title 12 of the Laverne Municipal Code and adopt the following standard, the 2018 International Energy Conservation Code. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to alter the code to match the state of Tennessee's.
Have a motion to, was that to
adopt according to the state of Tennessee's adoption, which would be, they have a special table that they adopted according to.
Sorry,
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
We
Second
can get-
from Alderman No.
Can we get Randolph in here, please, sir? Randolph, did you have an opportunity to look at the amendments for the state?
Oh, yeah, I've been looking at them since March or April this year.
What do you think about the amendment as opposed to the way it was originally written?
Well, I mean, you know, it's my job to give to y'all the upside, the downside, in all, you know, in all cases, and that, I think I have successfully done that over the course of the last few months. I mean, some have, you know, wanted to challenge some of what I've said about the HERS rating, and they're welcome to do so. I know what I've read, I know what I've heard, I know what I've seen. You know, it's y'all's decision. I mean, I hate to put it to you like that, but I prefer that it be adopted for code from cover to cover simply because I feel like that's the right thing to do. Now, I've been challenged by that by everybody from all over the county to across the state. And there are even some in this building right now that I can feel the burn on the back of my head when I say that. But that's my opinion, and that's just my opinion. The bottom line is it lies with y'all.
So do you think that somewhere down the road, if we adopt it according to the state that the builders are wanting to do, that there'll come a time to where, let's say FHA, for instance, somebody wants an FHA loan and that inspector goes out there and looks at that house and it's not up to the full 2018 energy compliance thing, that there's probably a chance that maybe FHA would turn it down.
That's what I have seen and read, yes, that the HERS rater at some point in time, I mean, adopting the 2018 with tables from the 09 is not the end of the world. That's what we're doing today under the 2012 with the 09 tables. We've been doing that since spring of 2014. So it's absolutely not the end of the world for us to continue to do that. The move is to Energy Star, the HERS rating system. At some point in time, it's my understanding that and I wouldn't stand here and tell you if I didn't believe it, that if they do not get a favorable score, favorable grade with that Energy Star rating, that due to the federal restraints on the FHA money, the THDA, the VA, whatever the federally backed funded loans out there, they could lose customers. Now, is that happening right now? Probably not, but will it? Most likely. I can recall the time when the FHA inspector, back in the day, were some of the hardest nuts in the world to crack. And if the HERS rating system falls in line with the way that the FHA inspectors were back many, many years ago, then, you know, we're gonna find that the builders may on their own decide that it's probably in their best interest to do to build with the tables found in the 2018 as it's written. So again, like I say, it's not the end of the world to adopt the 2018 as written, or excuse me, with the state amendments. That's what we're doing now. We're using tables out of 2009, and we have been since spring of 2014. And it's, like I say, it's up to this board to decide if that's what you would like to see happen in this community, and I'm out there to make sure that that's what happens in the field.
Evan, I've got a question, two questions for you. Number one, if we go ahead and adopt it the way that we have just worded this motion, and the state comes back and winds up adopting a different version later on, ours will just auto-update. Is that correct, or will it?
Not the way the motion, Mayor, is presented now. Now, the way the motion's made, it would be to adopt as amended by the state as it exists right now. So if the state did something in the future and we wanted to be consistent with that, we would need to pass another ordinance on that.
Okay. And then at any time, this board can come back, or any future boards can come back and revisit this issue. If we, you said it's not happening right now. If, let's say, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the number is, they come back and start doing this, at that time, or any time, this board can come back and revisit that issue. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. You could do it next month,
Yeah,
for that matter, so.
That was gonna be my suggestion too, that I mean, by ordinance, it can be looked at and revisited as often as you like.
I'll speak for myself that personally, I would like to see us adopt the current, the 09 tables, for the simple reason that my understanding is that our other cities throughout Rutherford County are at
Yes.
that level playing field.
Yes, they are.
And let's keep a level playing field with the rest of the county versus basically making those costs higher in our area.
Randolph, thank you Sir?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any more questions for you. I'll just go on with my discussion.
Anything else? Thank you.
Stay close by, just in case.
I don't, I think Laverne has the opportunity to set the higher bar, higher standard of building, a higher quality of homes, a higher quality of energy efficient homes. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be better. I've spoken with Randolph extensively about this. I don't think that they would have came to him and gave him this if they didn't feel like it was important. It's kind of like putting that energy thing on a stove or a water heater. It's on there for a reason. To me, this is basically quality versus money or quantity. I think a better built house with better energy, I just can't see anything wrong with that, none whatsoever. But that's my opinion.
Can we get Assistant Commissioner Gary Farley up, please? Mr. Farley?
Yes, ma'am.
I understand you did some extensive research with the state, with bringing in a variety of different players onto your field to discuss this issue, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about the discussion and what the ultimate conclusion was and why it became the ultimate conclusion of the 09 tables.
Since I took over 2.5 years ago as the Assistant Commissioner, my goal is always to bring whatever group that falls under my authority, whether it be fireworks or whether it be whatever, I bring in the stakeholders. I've always, in my years of public service, I wanted to hear from the stakeholders, and that's what I've done. So I brought in the home builders, which the home builders had never been brought into the discussion of codes. And who'd ever thought that a fire marshal and the home builders would be talking, but we are. We do disagree from time to time. They do know me about safety stuff. I'm not gonna give on safety, never. But what I did, I brought in the Fire Chiefs Association, they give me some members. I give them the Fire Inspectors Association members to the board. The Energy Code, not the Energy Code, but the energy efficiency people were brought in. And I had my legal staff that report to me was involved in it, along with my policy and programs director. And we met probably, I want to say 4 or 5 times. And then once we would meet, they would go back, there was homework. And they would go back and they'd study the code. And I would take recommendations from each one of those groups. Well, we would discuss, for, against, and then I would actually say whether I agreed or not, because I'm the one that's going to have to go before the General Assembly and make a recommendation through Government Ops Committee. And so the end result was the 2018 residential code and the 2018 energy code with amendments, with the 2009 tables. That was the consensus from the whole group. There was one group that did not agree, and that was the energy efficiency people.
When you talk about the energy efficiency people, do you recall some of their objections? I mean, just to put those on the table. Obviously, they're not here tonight, so would you mind sharing that?
They wanted it to be 2018 with no amendments. And they talked about what some of the things that this gentleman here was talking about, energy efficiency and all this other stuff. Really and truly, if a homeowner or a home builder wants to meet the the energy efficiency, whatever, get a 5-star. I don't know some of the names of the stuff, but if they want a home to be built energy efficient, it can be done. All they have to do is pass the test. So those tests are not required. And actually, to some of the stuff that was said a while ago, we've got 37 counties in the state of Tennessee that has no codes, 0. So they can come back later on and do these things. So with that, what was said a while ago was true. This state is in trouble. My attorneys would not allow me I could make that decision, but they would advise me not to. The Department of Energy has signed off on what we've done. My legal staff has signed off on what we've done, and the General Assembly has signed off on what we've done. It went into effect July the 16th of this past year.
If you don't mind me asking for your opinion on this matter, as far as Alderman No brought up quality, does this affect the quality of the home?
No. A person, if they want to, can still get what he's talking about having. They just have to ask for it up front and say, I want this to be an energy efficient home. Meet the standards of whatever that 5-star, whatever they're looking for to be met.
Do you think it's offered to them all the time? Do you think it's explained to them? And the reason I say that is I talked to a home builder down in Smyrna 2 weeks ago. He's a custom home builder, and whenever he goes to talk to people, he lays it on the line and tells them everything. And he said that 9 out of 10 customers pick the energy home because he thinks that it is the best. So, like I said, it's money versus safety versus energy. Why did they send this to Randolph? Why are we even here discussing it if it's not something that's good? Did the energy people just say, hey, let's do this and maybe we can benefit from it or something? So there's a reason why it's here, and I still think that we have the opportunity here as Laverne, Tennessee, to set this precedent.
And that's a decision that you as the legislative body has to make. Now, Randolph and because I was getting phone calls about that, and I called Randolph and was telling him I had never, and you would think that in my position as the highest ranking code official and the fire official in the state of Tennessee, that I would have heard that. I've not heard anything said about that. And the Department of Energy, if y'all remember back in 2009, the ARA money that was accepted through the state of Tennessee, that's how codes kind of evolved in the state of Tennessee. And the energy code was adopted because of the ARA money that was accepted. You have to make sure that you're within 7 years of what's published. And right now, the 2018 is what's published. The 21s are going to be coming out in the near future, if they're not already out. But it's a requirement that you have to continually adopt codes and be within 7 years of what's published.
So I have to believe that if you are gung-ho safety, like you say you are.
Yes, sir.
This has nothing to do with the conversation. I'm just putting it in my head that whenever it comes time for sprinklers, we need to get you back.
Well, that's one thing that the home builders and I disagree on. Sprinklers save lives, but here's the legislature took the sprinkler systems out.
We won't get into that.
That's a whole different topic.
I was just.
Does anybody else have any questions? Any comments?
I have a question for Evan.
Yes, ma'am.
Evan, with the state of Tennessee adopting the 2009 tables, if we should choose not to adopt those tables and go with the full 2021 code, how does the state of Tennessee come underneath Like, I thought the state was over us as a city, so how do we enforce something that the state of Tennessee has not required?
Well, I think, so the state would set the outer parameter of what you can do, and the city could be more restricted if it chose to be. The state would set sort of the outer level, I think. Mr. Farley, is that?
Yeah. Under the rules and regulations that I give the authority to you all to enforce codes, have your own codes department. You can't be less stringent than what the state is. You can be more stringent than what the state is. And with that being said, you could adopt it entirely if you wanted to, except for the sprinkler.
Is that
I'm just giving you an answer because of the two meeting deal. But you could. But every city and town that I've talked to are going, a lot of them are going with the way the state's got it done. But you can.
Do you know what price that would add to the cost of the construction of the home overall, that if you include all of the?
No, man, I don't know exact dollar figure. I've heard it increases the cost quite a bit, but I don't know how much.
If it's a good, well-built home with energy, and you take that cost, and I don't know, 90% of homes that are financed are 360 months, and you split that up over 360 months, it is not that much more, and you're getting a quality home with energy efficient. So I just, I know, like I said, it's money versus good, well-built. I wish my home was like that.
I guess my thoughts are a little different than yours, even if it adds, let's just say, just for round numbers, if it adds $25,000 to the cost of your home, then you're not just paying that $25,000, but you're paying that on your mortgage. So it's mortgaged for 30 years. Over the course of your mortgage, you could definitely pay $100,000 for that extra $20,000, depending on the interest rates. Is kind of my point.
The money that you spend every month on the way you're thinking, which is correct, you save in energy with better built home.
What I've heard is that the energy savings do not offset the difference in the cost over the lifetime of the home, not necessarily even the lifetime of the owner of the home, but the lifetime of the home itself. So if it takes 100 years to recuperate your money that you invested to have the better energy efficiency, then is it really winning if in your lifetime you will never recoup that money?
Like I said, I had my little home 10 years ago. I had the double, triple pane windows. I had a new unit. I had an energy efficient company come out, told me do this and this and that. I saved religiously $75, $80 a month.
So I've done that at my home as well, upgrade the roof and put more insulation in and, a new HVAC unit, and had some savings as well. But there's a difference between choosing as a homeowner to make those upgrades and being forced to by your city government. That's where the distinction lies with me.
I think everything that we do as citizens is somehow or another connected to the way the government makes us do things.
Agreed.
Alderman Coates, were you wanting to jump in here?
Yes, I would. The other thing we've got to consider is we're also looking at impact fees in the very near future. And my concern is the amount of single-family homes that we are not building at the present time has dropped dramatically. We have COVID, and we also have the issue of impact fees is going to drive up the cost of the homes too. So we have to think of it as not just the safety of things, but also the financial side of the impact it's going to have on the new residents.
I've heard talk about, first-time home buyers and stuff. First-time home buyers don't buy new homes. They buy older homes. People that want to live in Laverne, like I did when I decided to move to Laverne, I wanted to live here, and I paid extra back then, even for my little house. People will, you can go to I think Adam or somebody made the comment the other night about Nolensville or something. Well, I mean, that's fine, but you're gonna have to pay those taxes. And I think people will buy homes in Laverne. I think they will buy a good, better-built home in Laverne, Tennessee. And I think if we have the opportunity to give them a better-built home that is energy efficient, that costs a little more, that's built out of good quality lumber and material, and they know that up front, I think they'll come. I'm done.
Any other discussion?
I just got a question from a procedural point for Evan on it. The vice mayor just made a motion, and we've got a motion on the table. I'm a bit confused on that, because if we go ahead and this does not pass on the second reading, then the motion that she made will automatically come into effect, right? We'll still be able to, as the way that she just worded it. I just don't want to be confused on how we vote on this, because I would prefer that we vote on what's on the agenda right now, and then if we want to add extra for the amendments, then we fill it in.
Okay, I think I understand your point, and you please correct me, Alderman Jones, if I miss it, but are you stating that the concern would be that on second reading, passing something different than what was passed on first reading?
Correct.
Okay, so the law does allow for changes between first and second reading, so long as they're not so material that the ordinance passed on first reading is dramatically different than what's passed on the second. So there would not be any legal problem with passing the motion that the vice mayor has on the table. Whether or not you support that or not, obviously, is up to you, but it wouldn't create an issue from a legal standpoint.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion on this? And Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the motion we have is to approve it with the 09 tables. Is that correct?
The motion was to adopt the code to match the state of Tennessee and how they adopted it.
Okay. So this would be for that motion to adopt it.
Not as it is, not as it's been presented to us this whole time,
Correct. This is with the 09 tables.
with the amendments. I got you.
Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
No.
Alderman Jones.
Let's see, that's where I'm going to say, I want to adopt it with with the state of Tennessee, with the 09 amendment. No to what's written on number 4 on the agenda, and yes to what was presented by the vice mayor.
So that would be a yes on vice mayor's motion.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Second reading passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, number 5, second reading ordinance 2020-11, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 general fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Coates. Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Second reading passes. Second reading ordinance 2020-12, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 Streets Capital Projects Fund. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Coates. Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Second reading passes. Second reading, ordinance 2020-13, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 police impact fee budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second from Alderman No. Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Second reading passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second?
I second.
Second from Alderman No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda passes. Moving on to new business. First reading ordinance 2020-14, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2019-2020 Parks Capital Project Fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Alderman No,
I yield. I'll second.
and second from Alderman Jones.
I didn't hear.
Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
First reading passes. Resolution 2020-11, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Alderman Jones, our second.
Second.
Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2020-12, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to issue a special event permit for Old Timers Festival to be held October 16th and 17th of 2020. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Alderman No, our second, as will Alderman Jones. Alderman Coates.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Resolution
Question.
passes.
Just curious, before it goes any farther, a special event permit for Old Timers Festival. If there's another event that comes up, will that have to come back before this board for us to approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 12, appoint or remove board and committee members. We have the Alderman Jones has decided to step down from the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, and the board will appoint a representative to this committee. First, is anybody interested in it?
I am very interested in this.
Okay, well, I will make a motion for
Second.
Mayor Brown to be on there, and Alderman No will second that eagerly. All in favor?
Aye.
Appointment passes. Moving on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Jones.
Just want everybody, make sure everybody's safe out there. I think the bad weather's passed us over. Everything's moving through, but just stay safe. And again, there have been concerns by some of the citizens that come up, and I would advise everyone to please get in touch with, if you don't know who to go and talk to, feel free to call one of the numbers of the 5 people up here before we take anything off of hearsay or Facebook or Twitter or whatever else is out there, or bathroom walls. And just get with somebody who can assist you and get something done for you. Thank you.
Alderman Coates.
I'd just like to say, Chief Walker, hope he has a good and blessed retirement. Hope he does well. And number 2 is hope everyone has a safe and happy upcoming Labor Day.
Thank you, sir. Alderman No.
Just again, Mike Walker, man, I hate that. That's hard on somebody. So, that's it.
Vice Mayor Brown.
With Chief Walker, I think it impacts everyone here in the city. I've seen a lot of guys here in the room and girls blinking back tears when they talk about him retiring. He's just a good person in general, and he's served the city well, so I wish him well on his retirement, and couldn't have asked for a nicer man to be the chief of police for Laverne for all these years. Also, I want to give an update on NES. I don't have anything officially from them, but I can tell you that I got a Post-it note on my door that said that they were going to be doing some tree work in my area, which is over by Walmart. And they went down the street and put little dots of paint on the trees that they planned on trimming. So I know that they're making progress in that area. However, as we are still suffering the rain and effects from Hurricane Laura, we still have had a couple of different power outage incidents. Luckily, they were pretty short-lived comparatively, but we're still having problems in Laverne with NES Power. That has not escaped our attention. It's still on the list of things to do, and we're still working with them to resolve it, but I know there's been activity there. And also, I just want to say thank you so much to this board for appointing me to the Historic Preservation Committee. I love history. As a matter of fact, I'm a genealogy buff. I've been doing it for about 20 years, and I, in my spare time, listen to autobiographies of famous historic figures, so that makes me pretty lame and a little bit nerdy, but I do love it, so I'm really excited, and I have a lot of things that I want to see happen in Laverne to preserve our history, because it is rich, and I think it deserves to go forward into the new centuries.
I wanted you to have it because they're looking at me as an exhibit instead of a chair. I'm getting too much gray hair, so you can have it.
I can confirm that one. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just want to remind everybody about the Movies in the Park, which is September 11th. Sonic the Hedgehog will be on. It's rescheduled from last month, and hopefully the weather will work with us on that. Want to wish the best to Mike and Vicki Walker as they're enjoying this retirement. Mike has brought so much integrity and accountability to the Laverne Police Department that regardless of who fills that position, they're going to have some enormous feat to fill. So with that, I call this meeting adjourned.
Adjourned.